Hi, Rocky Biasi here with another Accidental Counsellor update. So when people come to the Accidental Counsellor training, I often hear right at the beginning of the day as we do the introductions, some fears that people have, and that is, am I actually doing this right? People wonder whether they're actually helping or hurting. And then there's this fear that not only am I doing it right, but am I, as I said, causing harm? And by the end of the day, people say, the training was awesome, but then there's this other problem where it's like there was so much, I'm not sure if I can remember it all and how will I know what to do and when to do it. So I would like for you to be much more confident in your intervention when you're working with people. I'd like you to be much clearer about the principles to focus on and to have a sort of framework about what to avoid and what to do. And that's why I have designed this little diagram and this template with 3 accidental counsellor principles. Okay, so there are 3 principles, 3 do's and 3 don'ts when it comes to the accidental counsellor training and the accidental counsellor skills. Let's go through them now. The first one is, don't give advice. What we want to do instead is we want to empower the client by creating a space so that they explore possibilities. We want to acknowledge, affirm, and validate their experience. What tends to happen when we give advice is that the person, even if they've wanted to do the action, is less motivated. The research is now saying that telling people what to do lowers their motivation for doing it. What we want to be able to do is connect with them first, create a space so that the client actually comes up with their own ideas and the next best step. This, of course, then empowers the person and feels like they can actually get out of the issues and they can cope and manage the problems that they face in their life. They can come up with ideas, they can come up with solutions rather than depending on you or a guru or someone to tell them what to do. Inevitably, telling them what to do then tends to backfire because they'll come up with things like, yeah, but I've tried that, or that won't work. So when they can discover the answer or the next best step, they own it much more and the likelihood of them taking action is much, much higher. The second principle is we don't want to be in our heads. We want to be in their head. We want to create a space so that they can, so we listen to not just their verbal communication, but non-verbal communication. When we're in our head, we're telling people, we're thinking about what's the solution? How am I going to fix this? How will I help them? What's the best advice I can give them? What do I do next? What do I say next? That's what happens when we're in our head. That's the type of self-talk. When we're in our head, we're not present and really listening to what's going on for the other person. And oftentimes I see people practicing these skills in the accidental counsellor training and they're too preoccupied and too much in their own head rather than simply creating, as I say, this space, this neutral space where you have no agenda about how it's going to work, what the outcome will be. Rather, the only agenda you have is to deeply understand the experience that's being communicated to you, verbally and non-verbally. When you get that and you communicate it back to the client and they can tell that you know what they're talking about or you understand their problem better than perhaps they understand it, then you really can help them move to the next step. The next step is that we don't want to analyze the problem or focus on the past. To get the next step happening, we want to help the client construct a vision of a solution or a vision of the next best step. So yes, the middle third of the triangle about being in their head validates and helps them understand that we understand what the issue is. We want to, of course, as we said right at the very bottom, acknowledge and affirm the problem and the experience that they're having. Of course, we don't want to dismiss the problem that they're telling us about, but we also don't want to take them there and we don't want to stay there. Rather, help them construct a vision of what the next best step could be for them. And a very simple question that you can ask to help you do that would be, how would you like things to be? That's a very simple question that can get the client to start talking about the desired outcome rather than what they don't want. Great. I really hope that template was useful to you. And you can get that just by clicking the link below the video. Just leave your name and email and I will email that template for you. And that will also put you into our email list where I can keep you up to date with other accidental counsellor tips, videos and other resources. Thanks and bye for now.